Okay, hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and hey, welcome to My Hero Academia, chapter 201. Okay, here we go, into the chapter. We got like around 14 to 15 pages this week. Good enough. I'm pretty happy with it. Hey, guys, so, this chapter overall, I think it was pretty good. I think it was great. Now, there is one really critical thing that I want to talk about, and it's specifically the last page of the chapter, because I just think it's a little bit... it's a little bit bothersome for me, but before that, I just want to point it out there. This was a pretty cool chapter. Not only did we get to see more of the cool action and just the kids being effective and trying to deal with the situation, we also got to see a little bit more with the Mushroom Girl, and the Mushroom Girl's capabilities are yeah, man, they could easily destroy people, no doubt. And just for the record, here's the picture of the mushrooms that this girl tried to grow in Tokoyami's lungs. Man, that is disturbing. But this ultimately, has led to an interesting discussion online, about whether or not the hype for Momo was justified and warranted. So that's going to be something we're going to talk about in this video as well. But before that, let's just very quickly go to the thing I can talk about, which is the last page, where specifically Kendo is saying that she feels like she didn't really win. And it's just... and look, man, and girls, because I don't discriminate, this is very easy to see what the author is doing here, right? This is something that authors do all the time whenever they're, ideally the favorites of a fight lose. They're gonna give something away to make it seem like it's not so much of a loss. The Shokugeki no Soma author does it very often, with Megumi. If Megumi loses, he's gonna go all oh, but she changed something in her opponent. It's kind of the same concept that's happening here. Momo loses, but then you have Kendo saying, I don't really feel like I won. As if this victory was something that she gained by cheating Momo out of it, or as if Momo just thoroughly trumped her. Look, man, it just doesn't work. I don't think the author had to give Kendo that particular perspective. I don't think that the author had to give us this final page of saying hey guys, don't worry, Momo did really, really well. What ultimately happened is that Kendo was enough to stop Momo, and then she relied on her teammates to deal with Momo relying on her teammates, right? Look, the reality is Kendo is never going to be able to outsmart Momo. It's just not gonna happen. Kendo needs to get that idea out of her head. She isn't going to be able to play control versus Momo. She's going to be able to play aggro. She has to go in and try to make sure that she can stop Momo before her plans get out of control, right? That is her role. And in that role, she accomplished it. Kendo dragged Momo over with a cannon. Alright? That's a victory. So this whole I don't really feel like I won, I think it's a line that's ultimately coming in there just to tell the viewers that, hey, Momo tried her best and Momo was able to get something out of this, or Momo was able to maintain her honor, but it's so don't feel bad about the victory. And the thing is, Class 1B ideally needs to get 1 or 2 victories to be able to say that, hey, guys, Class 1B is still competitive. And it's just that's cool if you want to do that, author, but you don't need to bring down the rival in order to be able to do that. The rival earned her victory without a doubt. It doesn't matter how far Momo can look ahead if you stop her from taking a step. It's prevention instead of countering. It's a worthwhile quality. Anyway, this little thing that happened at the last page is ultimately just a mechanic that the shonen authors do all the time whenever they have to say that the favorite lost a battle. They have to add in some kind of other victory for the favorite to take instead of the legit or not legit, but the official victory. Now, one thing that definitely contributed to all this, and one thing that I think Class 1B had as an advantage, and they used it very well, was the fact that no one knew their quirks, right? Because when we're talking about who ultimately botched this, well, I would say, unfortunately, it was sort of Tokoyami, by the virtue that he was, as we thought in the last chapter, he was going to be the very critical anchor for this. He was going to be the one that was going to have to bring it home. It's kind of hard. He's being given the main role, and as we saw, Momo thought that he would be capable of it by sending over the goggles and the ethanol spray, or whatever spray she had sent over. The problem ultimately here was just a lack of information. No matter how you look at this, Class 1B went in with a bigger advantage, a way more significant advantage, in that Class 1A did not have a full appreciation for their quirks. Like, who would have thought that the girl can grow mushrooms inside of someone's body, right? Ultimately, they were done in by two things: the lack of information and the fact that this was a training setting. Tokoyami's not gonna try and knock out a poor little girl, right? Especially when the poor little girl looks as cute as the mushroom girl does. All right, it's just a fact, and that's ultimately what gets him. Would Tokoyami have done that in a villain situation? Nah, I doubt it. Tokoyami would probably have less remorse here. So ultimately, they're done in by a lack of information. And even on Momo's side, there's nothing Momo can do if she doesn't know something. If she flat out doesn't know something, it doesn't work. And that's actually really interestingly reflected in her power. If Momo doesn't know molecular structure, she can't just make something, right? That's the prerequisite of her power. Her power requires her knowing things. So once you take away one aspect of her knowing something, then it's kinda done. It's kinda over. There's just nothing you can do about it. Now, what was interesting throughout all of this was ultimately the hype man Todoroki. Like, I thought Todoroki's hype all through this was great, but then you have this chapter, which is just like, oh no, and it's him saying that he hopes that she doesn't get discouraged again, and that's pretty much when you have a character saying that. The character knows that this girl is prone to getting discouraged easily, and he's already thinking about the future of how bad she could be feeling about herself. Ideally, I do think that as a character, Momo should be able to take this as a learning experience and not get discouraged about it. But it doesn't speak well for her when you have the guy already hoping against her habits, right? I feel really bad for her because it shows that he still has some doubt about how strong she is and how confident she is in herself. Just a little bit, because like at this point, if he really believed that she would not get discouraged, he wouldn't be on the hope side of things, right? So that makes me feel kind of bad about Momo's loss there, but without a doubt, it's a Class 1B victory. They won using what they had. They won using overpowered quirks or really combat suitable quirks. They won by their own merits, without a doubt. Whether it was faking out the enemy and drawing them into a false sense of security, or whether it was using legitimate skill, or even if it was just preventing Momo from doing too much damage, they were able to win, and I think that's totally worthwhile. Definitely Mushroom Girl, she brought it home. Man, and I'm looking at that last page again, and I'm just looking at Midnight saying, oh yeah, Momo seems like she'd be a great leader. And it's just like, okay, you're giving the accolades to the loser. I get it, author. You need to do it because you have to justify why it's okay that she lost. But honestly, you shouldn't take the victory away from Kendo. She prevented a planner, and she wasn't going to be able to plan otherwise. From a character perspective, you could tell Kendo, like, Kendo, just give up, alright? You're not going to be able to outsmart Momo. At least try to beat her into practicality. I mean, that's the option there. Anyway, overall, like I said, really cool chapter. I think it's totally reasonable why they lost. I think capturing Kuroi in his cape was an incredibly smart move by Tokoyami, showing that once he knows what the person is capable of, he can act appropriately. And I also liked a little bit of a hint of a Kuroi and Mushroom Girl ship. That was pretty cool. But yeah, overall, really fun chapter. I'm really excited for the next fight. These fight chapters have been amazing. Author, keep doing it. Keep doing the awesome stuff. I am so ready for the next one. So yeah, guys, tell me what you think down below. I will be trying to read the comments this week. There's a lot usually, but I will go through them. So let me know what you thought. And until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day. Also, I can't believe I didn't talk about this. The infrared goggles. It's hilarious that Momo, like, what the limit to Momo is how big something is, not how complex something is. I like that because that is so broken. Holy.